moving to oneness, nourishing curiosity, embracing differences, becoming one.
Welcome everyone to the Moving to Oneness show. This is Meilin, your host, sitting in Germany, close to Nuremberg, and with my co-host, Denise. Take over.
Hi. Yes, thank you, Meilin. Hi, guys. This is Denise Hansard, and I'm coming to you outside of Chicago, where it is a beautiful, crisp, and cool day today. So thanks, everyone, for being here. And Meilin, I love what we are doing.
Me too. It's really
Yes.
exciting. God,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
felt it a long time, maybe a long time. About 8 months ago, we felt the urge to create something for us, for the world, for beautiful beings, and we set out to create this show, right?
Yes, we did. And it's interesting because the topic we want to talk on today, guys, is about the importance of story, because we all have our own story. I know Meilin and her journey in life. She has her story. Some of you who know me know my story and my journey in life, and yet we're creating a new story every day as we move forward. And being able to, just as it said at the beginning, get curious about what we don't know. Look at everyone's differences and the differences in life and begin to embrace all of that, because we are moving toward the oneness, which means we are coming together no matter what.
Yes, we're
It doesn't
coming
matter.
together.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we're different and we don't agree with each other, because that is going to be the case in life, period. It's just that we respect and we hear and we listen and we have a discussion.
Yeah, it's
And
a
that's what Meilin and I
stimulation.
done. Yes.
Stimulates conversation.
Yes, and that's the importance, because as we continue in our journey in creating our life and our new story, we get to choose what that is. And we get to say, I'm open to what I don't know.
Oh, I love that. I'm open to what I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's with our openness that we're able to take in more, and we're able to move, and we're able to share. Um, oh gosh.
Explore, the word explore comes to go on an adventure if we're open, to learn about other people, how they view the world, how they view themselves, or a certain topic.
Yes, their cultures, their language. I mean, guys, I sit on a phone call, excuse me, with Meilin, and of course she's um, has her son there occasionally, and he'll come in, and she's speaking a language, and she's then coming back to me in English, and I'm going, wow, that is just so wonderful how she switches back and forth so easily. I love that about her, and she has that beauty of being just a multilingual person. I wish I was in that way.
That's, it's so funny. I'm not really the pro in multi languages, but it does open the doors in understanding or trying to understand, experiencing once the difficulties of learning a language. And I tried to learn French in school and Italian, and I forget Latin. Um, but it opens up the awareness, and I'm now more than ever noticing. At the beginning, I was more afraid of how I pronounced the word. Would someone understand me? But I learned people are not really interested in that. It's maybe it was important for the classroom, but they want to see your facial expressions. They want to feel the energy you're coming with, even if the two different languages are spoken. The gestures and the body language becomes so important. And while we're talking about others, also in any relationship or in relating to anyone or anything, if we become more free and let the body do much more of the speaking, I think we'll also get much more understood and also accepted, because I think many of you may be looking um, for this deeper acceptance,
I
right?
love that, Meilin. Yes, definitely. It's it's one of those as we open our heart. Again, we may not agree with what someone is saying, and yet we can still love them. We can still open our heart to respect and to hear what they have to say. It's not that we have to buy into what they're saying or how they're doing things. It's just that we can observe. It's that curiosity, you know? We don't even have to tell them that, no, I don't think you're doing that right. I can't believe you're believing that and saying that. You can just open your heart and go, you know what, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
And then
taking
decide where to
time.
go from there. Yeah. Yeah, it's like this morning and today, as we're recording this, the one of the news items that's out there is this book on Oprah's book club list. I don't know if you heard about it, Mylene,
No?
but it's called American Dirt, and it's written about the immigrants' viewpoint on immigrating into the U.S. I think is basically it, and becoming an American. And there's a lot of people that are coming out and saying, how dare she tell that story? And yet she is an immigrant, and she can, and her father was an immigrant, and she can tell that story from her view. It's so funny how we get so caught up in what we feel is the way things are supposed to be done. And I think that is where we've got to break the chain of conditioning behavior.
Yeah,
There's,
you're right. I was, the thought came while you were speaking. I said, this is our sis story, right? That's my story, that's Oprah's stories, and we all have stories. So I have immigrants in the US. My
mm-hmm,
dad is an American, came over with the military into Germany, right?
mm-hmm,
So when I was 20, I left to go over to the US to learn more about my other half. And so I had immigrants a little bit more than 100 years ago. So great grandfather was born in the US, right? And
mm-hmm.
so look, I have importance. And I remember, I think once 28% of immigrants were German. That's a big group, and it has switched over time, right? Different countries come, but I think the whole world is, um, people have been moving around. And if you can look at only a small window, if you look only in my life, if I think about my son, he's also born again in the US, right? I was born here in Germany. How it switches around. But if we look at longer periods, then we say, oh, there's so much difference. If we look at the world, how people have moved, and if I pull it apart a little longer, look at 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, I look, right, how the movement
Mm-hmm.
of people was and how intermingled and how mixed. And if we go further back, what we know nowadays, because of I think the amino protein, we can see that once, a few 10,000 years ago, people were moving all around the world. They were from this, the northern Norwegians were all the way in Australia and the other way around. So to broaden the horizon and to take in the moment that we are, a moment time to listen for the story and
Mm-hmm.
just to settle in and go with the flow and the energy, because it may open things for you, or even for me as a listener.
I love that. Yes, and that was kind of what I wanted to express, and you said it so well, is that we all have our own story, and it's our voice, and it's our perspective on what happened. And we can't diminish how someone views what happened in their life. And I find that so many times that people want to say, "Oh, I that just is not it. You didn't experience that. What are you talking about?" And yet, in their own perspective, in their life, in their heart, in their mind, in their emotions, excuse me, that is what happened to them no matter what, and honestly, it's one of those to where I love to hear stories because I get to learn something new from someone else, from a different perspective, to see how they painted the picture. Even if I saw the same thing they did or experienced the same thing, it's in a different hue, a different color, a different language, a different musical note. And I embrace it because it makes me curious on why did they see it that way? Or
Mhm.
wow, why didn't I see it that way? So it's always about, for me, and I think for you too, Meilin, this is why we became quick friends, is that we love the journey of experiencing something new. And that's where your story comes into play. There are many times that I find people who want to live in the past. I can't necessarily get them out of the past. I might can encourage them to come out of the past because sometimes the past can be a painful place. And what I feel for myself and how I try to influence others is to, look at that past and decide, is that where you still want to be, or can you learn to let it go and to move forward? And so that's the question I put to our audience. Where are you on your journey, in your story? Where are you in moving out of what was into where you are today? What is at this very moment? And
Mm.
I'd love it if you're having that question, you have some thoughts on it, just shoot us an email, shoot us, whatever put it in the Facebook group. Invite others into the Facebook group to come together as we share these stories that we have and helping each other to see the different perspective and to embrace, the differences and be okay with that.
To be okay with it. That is so important, everyone. Be okay with what you're experiencing in the moment. Yeah?
Mm.
It may be
Yeah.
not the funniest thing, or it may be, or you're dancing, or you feel like crying, but let that all be okay. We can stop this judging of ourselves to become, as you talked about, Denise, more open, uh, more willing to listen and to be and to learn about others.
And to open your heart.
To open
I
your
think
heart.
that's the biggest thing that I want to get as we move to oneness, as we're moving to oneness, is just to be open. And the biggest thing is open your heart more to yourself so that then you can share that out to others.
Yes, 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 yes,
Mm.
yes.
Okay, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this first episode of Moving to Oneness.
Yes, I
We'd
hope so
love
too.
to, yes, we'd love to have your input on it. And just keep watching us and listening to us and sending us info on what you'd like to hear us talk about next. Because I'm Denise Hansard and I'm over in the United States outside of Chicago.
Yeah, and I'm Meilin here in Germany, and the Facebook group is also called Moving to Oneness. So put it in there, and we have so many more exciting things that are going to be created and for you to experience. So I welcome you to our movement in a way as we all together move to oneness.